I thought it warranted a response from me. I have always towed the line of edgy humor when it comes to my online presence. Over the last 5 years, I've developed a more sarcastic, blunt, and satirical personality. There's nothing about what I've done publicly that I have tried to hide or delete or claim ignorance to. I take full responsibility of all I've said and all my actions. I can proudly say that I'm someone who is really open about my life in a space where many hide, not because they are bad people, but because people on the internet love judging and backseating a streamer's life. True? Someone emailed me a list of problematic things I've done in their eyes, and that's making the rounds in the Twitter stan circles, and normally I would say, just don't watch my content. Not in a dismissive manner, but simply as, this is just my humor. But it has been brought to my attention that there are literally people crying about it and even dragging the people I care about, namely my friends in OTV and Amigops, into it by pressuring them and condemning them for interacting with me. Shit on me all you want, but I always draw the line at attacking my friends. So let's take a look. 1. He's a racist. In an OTV video from 2 years ago, we did a Don't Laugh challenge in an attempt to get a subject to laugh. I read out a race joke off a website. It was all bleeped out, but if you go looking for it, you'll find the full version. People seem to think this means I support racism, even though my words and actions during the BLM protests, it's clear that I condemn it. Even being attacked by people for using my platform to speak up against racism. It's an offensive joke I made to get a reaction from the participant. Trying to educate me that it's offensive has no weight because we all knew it was offensive, that's why it was censored. Is it tasteless? Sure, you can say that, but it doesn't make me a racist. As someone who was spat on for being the quiet Asian kid in school, being called Jackie Chan all the time, hearing ching chong when I go out to eat at a restaurant, I've experienced racism myself. This obviously doesn't make me immune to being racist, but reading an offensive joke doesn't make me one either. He's a racist off stream. What? In a podcast with Destiny, I mentioned that privately streamers say and do things that the public would find distasteful. This is the truth. This is the truth. There's a reason why the majority of streamers keep their lives so private and try to only show the positives of their lives to their audience. This is really important to understand. You only see what the streamers show you on stream. You don't know what they are like when the cameras are off, besides stories and testimonies from people who actually know them. When I say I make racial jokes off stream, this does not mean I walk around the OTV house dropping slurs left and right. It means occasionally, say we are discussing the next member of OTV, I would say, are they Asian? Because we are too Asian. We should diversify with a white/black guy. Obviously, we don't pick members based on race. Does that mean everyone on OTV deserves to be canceled and forced to apologize for not then running to Twitter and publicly condemning what I said in private? No. Is this an expectation people have? I would truly hope not. I hope you guys can see from our past actions that when we feel something becomes truly problematic and can potentially harm others or is truly that bad, we do condemn that person privately and publicly if necessary. Obviously, none of us think that anything Toast has said or done crosses a boundary or line like that. Also, I understand if you're really young, like if you're legit 12 to even like 16, I don't think you've lived long enough to see the phenomenon of how much what is publicly and sometimes even privately acceptable changes within the time span of 5 to 10 years. And we have all been streaming like 5 to 10 years. Things change so much. And I think that's why it is so easy for younger people to be like, this is okay, because what you consider like your whole adolescent life is like 2-3 years. And so you're like, my whole life, this has always not been okay. How come you guys think that this is okay? But you have to understand, those things change so much with culture and society shifts, etc. And because of that, I think that is just like a really, okay, that's something that's important to consider. And two, certain things, in my opinion, please let me know if you guys feel otherwise. I'm not trying to say like this is truth. I'm just trying to share my perspective, and I am absolutely curious to hear what you guys have to say and if you have anything to educate me on. But the other thing is, I feel like certain things are acceptable in certain contexts where they are not as acceptable publicly. And that does not mean that you're being like a fake bitch or something, but there are certain jokes that I may make around 2 or 3 friends because I understand who these people are, how they will receive the joke, and therefore it's funny. But I would not perhaps say it publicly or on stream because I know that there could be certain people watching that actually take what I'm saying seriously and do use my joke as a reason to be, I don't know, let's say sexist or something. Like an inside joke, not so much. Like sometimes I just say stupid, I could never like pull off like a freaking racial joke, but sometimes I'll say like stupid wham and stuff that I would never say publicly because I don't actually want random sexist or misogynistic people potentially watching to think that that's actually what I think. But like if it's just me and my best friend and my other best friend, like we're all just saying stupid stuff. And in this specific context, it's okay because we recognize each other as not sexist, not racist, not homophobic, not whatever. So it's in that sense less harmful and less offensive, I think. That's my perspective right now. And if you guys, I mean, if you think otherwise, please do let me know. But again, those are not things that, I feel like a lot of those jokes are less okay publicly. Again, 1, depending on your audience. And 2, just because we understand that when you are speaking to such a large group of people, it is much easier to kind of control how a joke can be taken. Especially because I don't think any of us ever actually want to be offensive or harmful or hurtful or anything. So yeah. You know your friends' sense of humor, so you know how far you can go with your jokes. Not necessarily jokes that actually offend or hurt the friends, but more so like it's very different to say a kind of stupid, slightly misogynistic joke in front of 2 friends that you know are not sexist whatsoever versus saying it publicly where people don't know if you're being serious and some people will take it as a reason to actually be sexist. Whereas if we ever make a joke like that, we're making it because it's so dumb. We are literally making it because it's so dumb. Like I'll be hanging out with friends and they'll say some stupid shit and I'll just walk up and like go to the kitchen. They'll be like, what are you doing? And I'll be like, I'm here because this is where I belong. Obviously, like that's such a joke and it's so dumb. Like we all know this, but I don't like to make too many of those jokes publicly because some actual crazy sexist people watching will think I'm being serious. And I don't want to further that, especially in like a male-dominated industry and audience. That's what I mean by I think certain jokes are a bit more acceptable in private contexts. But again, I'm making this dumbass joke because it's me and like my 2 dumbass friends being dumbass. Also, one other thing. Does that mean everyone on TV deserves to be canceled and forced to apologize for not then running to Twitter and publicly condemning what I said? Please know that we have obviously never gotten an impression or vibe or sentiment from anyone in our friend group of actually being racist, sexist, homophobic, any of these things. And if we had, they would not be our friends. From even just a private standpoint. Like I imagine most of you guys, if you're like me and you are none of those things, you don't even want to have a friend who's like that. So again, like if we really did think it was an issue, we would have done something about that, but that's clearly not the case. He promotes pedophilia. During a game of Pictionary, the prompt was illegal, and I drew a stick figure of a young girl, obviously meaning pedophilia is illegal. Some people tweeted at me saying that I want to Some people say they just find it tasteless. Tasteless, I understand this. Again, it just goes back to my edgy sense of humor. I don't support pedophilia. I can't believe I even have to read him saying that. And it honestly surprised me that some stands are trying to cancel me for this one. The prompt was illegal. I'm pretty sure it's clear that even with the worst opinion of me, people can recognize that I'm saying pedo equals bad. I'm a minor and I laughed. What the fuck? That was one time. See, what I'm trying to figure out what to say here is like, I am trying to understand it from the perspective of someone who would see this happen in a game of Pictionary and come to this conclusion. I think the difficult thing, if I'm really being honest from Toast's perspective, is that he's 29, right? And he's been streaming for many a years. And I'm pretty sure he grew up in this internet Twitch culture age. This man's about to be 30. Obviously, his humor is not one that is like... I don't even think he wants to have a sense of humor that is particularly PG. Or like specifically geared towards people that are like 13, 14, 15, right? I don't think that would be fun for him. And I think that now, after all the Among Us stuff, he has appealed unintentionally, well, whatever. Because he played that game, it has appealed to a much younger audience that is now kind of, I don't know, it's like overflowed into his larger fan base. And it has been difficult to reconcile those two things. I'm a rape advocate. This one bothered me the most because the others I can understand to some degree of people just thinking my humor is crass and tasteless. Coincidentally, this one is the one where the email didn't bother including any VODs or clips. Just a recollection that I said, when a woman says no, don't let that stop you because she doesn't really mean it anyway. Just keep going. I genuinely do not remember saying this, and I'm surprised that people didn't even bother checking the VOD before blindly just accepting it. I do recall saying something along the lines of if a girl says no, just keep asking till she gives in, as in keep bothering a girl if she turns you down. And obviously, I hope people have enough social understanding to see that this was sarcastic, as I did in front of my two close female friends who I know will respond accordingly. Toast, no, don't teach them that. When I make satirical commentary, I usually say something purposefully ignorant because I know there exists men that do think that way, and I do it in front of people I know who would react in a manner that shows that this line of thinking is not okay. I know doing so without a foil or friends to play the straight role, some fans might actually think I was being serious, which is why I always make sure that it's clear that what I'm saying is stupid. For this particular conversation, I also remember not finishing my sentence and immediately backtracking on it because I realized in the moment that some people might take it the wrong way since I didn't properly convey it. I recognize that rape and sexual assault isn't something to joke about. I like to think my actions during a period of time where friends of mine did go through such traumas shows how seriously I take it. It was a joke about how creepy men can be. I don't think it is fair to label me as a rape advocate, especially while not showing any clips or VODs of the moment. Yeah, Toast is very, very far from a rape advocate. Again, I think it's how do I say this? Twitch culture, even 2 years ago, was so different. Well, actually, maybe not so much Twitch, but Toast's viewer base was so different 2 years ago than it is now. And I think also some jokes are just... It's easier to understand when someone is saying certain things for comedic or entertainment value when you are of a certain age, essentially. So I understand it being difficult for someone who's young to look back at someone that they look up to, Toast, saying these things and assuming that he's being serious. It's a complicated and convoluted situation. But I do not think it's fair to come to this conclusion, and I think that that is very inaccurate. These people are just looking for an excuse to get attention from streamers. Please don't give them attention. IMO Toast probably should not have answered this on either, but still he's a wise person. I disagree. I mean, I don't think they are only saying this to get attention from streamers. I think they're saying this because they genuinely think that they're doing something right by bringing attention to what they think to be someone's misbehavior. When in reality, it's just like someone trying to be entertaining or joking. And again, depending on the audience, sometimes that's appropriate. But now for his current audience, it's less so appropriate. Because they just take it at face value, whatever he says. And you know what? If you do find some of the things that he says tasteless, that's totally fair. Like, there is certain edgy humor that even I see and I'm like, that's too far for me. I don't like that. I don't want to support that. And that's fine. But I think that is very different from immediately coming to these conclusions. I think that is extremely damaging. I think these things are extremely damaging. Because in my opinion, the more we throw around statements like this, the less weight they actually hold when they are true. There are YouTubers who are legitimate pedos or rapists or advocate for these sorts of things. And those are people that need to be deplatformed. But the Toast, like, no. So that's something that I'm quite not okay with. It's kind of similar to the Carson issue, which I don't want to speak to or speak on too much. But one specific aspect of it was I remember when it first came out, the girl who wrote something about it or like spoke about her experience, she accidentally labeled it as pedophilia when I think she was 17 and he was 19. And then she later on had to retract and say, oh, sorry, this is like not specifically pedophilia or grooming or something. And she had to take that back. But I mean, at that point, it's kind of too late. Like, someone will already be branded as that. So I think we should be a little bit more careful in the ways that we label certain situations or the conclusions that we come to from those situations. Yeah. No, they just like using buzzwords nowadays. People are keyword drunk these days. I think they're just a little trigger happy to label certain things in certain ways. As a fan of Toast, but also someone who was hurt by the situation, is a little upset with Toast. I think his take on stan culture is kind of awful. He said multiple times on his stream that he's open to learn and get educated, but then calls every stan on Twitter a child when they try to do so. I think his response was okay, but he shouldn't have worded it as I'm getting canceled because absolutely no one was canceling him, and the ones who tried to educate him were his fans. I think that's fair. I can imagine being a fan of Toast and being kind of hurt by that. I do also think, like, he's doing his best to be nice, but as someone who, like, you guys know his personality. He is just, he's like a satirical, blunt kind of person. As a human being, he's open to being educated, but it doesn't really relate with his persona, kind of. Does that make sense? Anyways, I don't want to speak for him, or I don't want to say anything wrong because obviously, like, we are friends and we are affiliated, but yeah. Oh god, I need to speed run this. Has VCT begun? No, soon. Okay, nice. Not yet, almost. Got it. He thinks there's nothing wrong with using the R slur. This one is a complete head scratcher because I don't ever use the R slur. And I am really aware of why it's a word that shouldn't be used, which is why I've never used it in any of my streams or videos for the last several years. The email claimed that I said this on a recent stream, but again, doesn't show the clip or VOD of me saying it. It really does break my heart to see people just eat all of this up without asking for at least the clip or context. They just see that the first 3 points had a video, so they assume the second 2 points are valid without needing proof. I even recently did a stream saying how I specifically refrained from using the word despite it being allowed by other streamers. Actually, same here. And even when I was much, much younger, I'm sure I used it. But once I got to a point of like truly understanding why it's offensive and recognizing that I would never want to be offensive in that way or hurt people, I've obviously done my best to avoid it entirely. What is the R slur? Guys, you're definitely... You're trolling me. You're trolling me. You're trolling. And final note, someone said I was specifically attacking some Twitter user when I talked about cancel culture on stream recently. And to this, I can only say I have no idea who they are. I usually talk in generalizations of what I see or what people tell me. My friend showed me the profile and I had no idea what was going on, but this person was claiming that I was specifically attacking them and that I called them a child. This goes back to what I have always said about parasocial relationships. The stands will try their best to insert themselves into a streamer's life to an unhealthy point that this person thinks that this guy's toast. Why are you talking about yourself in the third person? That's so funny. Was talking about them, plebeian of the Twitterverse. When I talk about children stands trying to cancel people, I'm referring to the toxic ones who tell anyone who disagree with them to kill themselves and are only interested in getting an apology as some kind of victory. If you're not a child, oh my god, you know what is so hurtful? My eye is literally twitching. I've seen so many people on Twitter try to hold someone accountable, and then that person apologizes, and then the person is like, fuck you, we don't give a fuck about your apology, give me money, or something like that. Like, it's just like taking part in the enjoyment or whatever high you get off of shitting on someone, not caring whether they apologize or are remorseful whatsoever, and then just further shitting on them anyways. Which I think just really goes to show your intentions, right? Which is not at all to help better someone in any capacity whatsoever. If you're not a child throwing a tantrum on Twitter, if you're respectfully voicing your opinions like the thread author here, I'm not talking about you when I talk about toxic stands. Take one look at my mentions and you can find the people that I am talking about. Moving forward, I will try to be a little bit less edgy, but that type of humor is something I grew up with and do personally find humorous. Similar to Michael Scott's character from The Office or Joey from Friends, it's clear when they make ignorant remarks that they are ignorant remarks, and the reaction from the other characters make it clear on that. That's what I try to I can't say that word, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. In my content whenever I do make jokes rooted in racial or sexual nature. If you take it at face value, without context, without knowing me, I can understand why I might come off as a bigot. But even if you don't respect me, at least respect the opinion of the people around me, my peers, people who've known me for years. Know that they wouldn't stand by for any bigotry or racism or sexism because we hold each other to a very high standard, period. I'm so sorry, I scared my cat when I said that. So true. Very, very true. To the original message author, thanks for taking the time out to properly convey how you feel. I do apologize to the people who were hurt by my jokes. If you watched my Among Us lobbies, my concern is always whether or not being or having a positive experience. It's the same with my fans. With so much new fans coming in from the recent blow up in our friend circle, I'm sure several of them weren't aware that I had a very edgy, dry, sarcastic sense of humor that can definitely be offensive at times. And at the end of the day, if you're uncomfortable with my style of humor, then it's best not to watch me. I will try to be more considerate, but I expect to still make the occasional edgy joke here and there. The one thing I ask is to leave my friends alone. They are wonderful people that don't deserve any hate for being associated with me. Boycott my content, cancel me, whatever, but don't drag them into it by pressuring them to demand an apology or demanding an apology from them just because we play games together. Final thing, if you use my friends' faces as your Twitter profiles or their names in your handle, and you go around attacking other fandoms or use it to cause drama between fan bases, change it. Grow the fuck up. You give them a bad name and they don't deserve that. This goes double for any of my own fans because I've taught you all better than that. Aww, dad toast. I've taught you all better than that. I love that. Wowie. Wowie. I am actually quite glad he made this post because I think there's kind of a larger conversation that needs to be had versus just, hey, we're mad about this thing from XYZ years ago, and then the person is like, I'm sorry to anybody that I've offended. And listen, that's fine. And that is probably the route that I would take because I don't think I'm in the position to say something like this. But I do think there is something to be said about allowing some leeway for the types of jokes people are allowed to make. And honestly, the main reason why is because once you start policing that too much, at the end of the day, it's less content for you guys, is it not? I don't think you guys would enjoy a world where we are overly policed in regards to the types of jokes that we can make. But obviously, that's not to say that a lot of the things that people bring up aren't valid. They for sure are. And I think another thing that, another distinction that kind of needs to be made is behavior or jokes or comments that are made that are straight up not okay under any circumstances versus edgy humor that sometimes if you just don't like that kind of thing, you just shouldn't consume that content. But does that mean that those people like shouldn't exist as content creators? Not really. So there's a bunch of gray area and then there's shit that's just not okay. And I think people worry a little bit too much about every small thing in the gray area. Anything that even goes near the gray area. But also keep in mind, don't forget, the reason why you guys love to comment about this stuff is because you like these people. You like Toast, you like XYZ other sort of edgy content creator, and the reason you like them is because of how they are. And you can't strip every aspect of their personality away in the, I don't know, in honor of being extremely PC or whatever. I don't know. Just something to keep in mind, I think. Anyways, maybe this was really... I hope it wasn't a bad idea for me to talk about. Thank you for the 50 gifted, BSK. I am not the end-all, be-all of what is okay or not. I just wanted to give my perspective. Not that it is a perfect or completely correct one. But yeah. Oof. People are trying to get attention and power, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I think VCT is about to start, so. How do you feel about Ray's reply to his tweet? Me personally, I feel like it panders to the stands attacking him and validates their behavior. I actually have not seen it, so I can't really say. But I did see, like, I don't know. I saw Leslie say that she's done. If you're getting canceled for this, I'm canceling myself with you. He's not getting canceled. His career is still intact. Go off, I guess. The reason he wrote this was because there were some privated/deleted accounts going at him to cancel them. I don't know why people are so... Why is the word canceled their issue here? I think it's just trying to be used a little bit more generally in the sense that if there's a ton of people messaging all of his friends to like apologize and hold themselves accountable for associating with him, like that's like a form of canceling. Maybe you in particular, Twitter user, are not canceling them. And it's not so much about like trying to deplatform someone. But I think we all kind of get what he means by canceling. Like making a big deal out of something, reaching out to people around them to apologize, like things like that is, I would still kind of put that in the realm of canceling. The word canceled is so watered down now. Yeah, kind of. I don't see the use in going the opposite way with it and being like, this isn't canceling. Well, I mean, I don't know what else you would call it. There's a difference between trying to make someone accountable. Yeah, okay. What I'm saying is holding someone accountable does not include reaching out to their friends and trying to get their friends to no longer be associated with them. The dynamic between close friends/siblings when it comes to things like jokes could be misinterpreted by people outside of the circle and taken as offensive, despite the friends/siblings mutually agreeing that none of it is actually intent. Yeah, that's true. Damn. Whoo! Sheesh! Okay, sorry. Did VCT start? Yes, fuck. I kind of wanted to keep talking about this and go through some more things, but maybe later. Maybe later? Let me hop up in the thing. Lounge. Pog. Lounge Pog. What channel is VCT on? Okay, this is it. I hope those that were hurt found closure through this. I think it's great you addressed it. I personally have always known you had a dark sense of humor sometimes, and seeing this/others' reactions to this opened my eyes a bit as well. I appreciate you, Toast. I mean, I think she's just trying to, like, still have Toast's back without invalidating people's feelings. But I can imagine it being hard to say more than this, you know? Yeah. It is what it is. You guys also have to understand, for anybody when it comes to their audience or otherwise, they will have a hard time not wanting to cater to the majority, right? Yeah. It just is what it is. Someone said Sony's tweet. Because Sony said, I actually cringed reading this. The fact you'd have to go to such lengths to explain yourself. Holy shit, people need to find better ways to spend their time. Yes, I'm spending my time watching people who are not disgusting and offensive like you guys. Don't worry. I only know this man as Ray's ex, and I have never cared about his ass, but that was so unnecessary. This is why men don't deserve freedom of speech. Sorry for laughing. It's just like... like, this is... I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's just the kind of thing... it's the kind of thing that I would never say publicly, but that I would say to, like, my friends, cause it's so... just so dumb. I'm sorry. And you know what? Maybe because this person isn't like a billion follower Andy, maybe they find it's okay to joke on their Twitter. I don't know.